Thank you. Greetings, 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 greetings. It is I, King Clifford Jefferson, ascendant of Godfrey, the fifth count of Jew, son of folk, ruler of Jerusalem. I'm the reincarnation of King Edgar the Peaceful, which we at the Third Temple English Church of England refer to as Jesus Christ. It is June 16th, 2024, which is the birth year 2974. Once again, 2974. I greet you in the name of my queen, Sister Galveston, from the house of Galveston. I greet you in the name of Archbishop Belmont, from the house of Belmont. I greet you in the name of Bishop Searchy, from the house of Searchy. I greet you in the name of all the officers of the Third Temple English Church of England. I greet you in the name of all the elders, all those who have died and passed on, which we call our ancestors, our saints, our martyrs, uh, uh, whether those apostles, all those who came before us and have been continuing on that path to the present day. I greet you in the name of all those who carry on in the spirit and the name of our ancestors. And we know that our ancestors is nothing more than what we call energy. Okay? Energy. This lesson is for our Father, which is energy. Okay? Energy. We are etheric beings. We give homage to energy. Okay? So this topic today will be melanin. It's the key to ascension. See it on the molecular level. Once again, melanin is the key to ascension. We're going to see it on the molecular level. Once again, melanin is the key to ascension. We will see that from this lesson on a molecular level. So everyone bear with me. I'm not a professional in this. You know, I just come to bring forth my understanding based off my comprehension of my research. Okay. Um, uh, you know, I inform everyone that are under the sound of my voice to make sure that what you see here at the Third Temple English Church of England, make sure you go back and research. Okay? Make sure you qualify for yourself. All right? I'm qualifying it for you by bringing it before you in a format where you can see it for yourself. Okay? But please do further elaboration, further deliberation on what you quantify as being the truth. Okay, once again, this message, this lesson, this lecture is called Melanin. It's the key to ascension. See it on the molecular level. Yes, the molecular level. All right, this is how we're going to build this lesson. As you can see behind me, you see a picture or a frame of what we call the astral body or the etheric self or what we call the spirit self. Okay, the spiritual body, the immortal body. Okay, we here at the Third Temple Church of England refer to it as the etheric body. Okay, it's very important because in order for you to comprehend this lesson, you must see it or interpret it from the etheric body. Okay, the etheric body. So we're going to go to the composition of ourselves. All right, we're going to go through the composition of ourselves, which we assume to be made of what we call matter, mass, volume, okay? Based upon our comprehension of ourselves, which is based upon our sensory nervous system, which is due our five faculties: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. This is how we get an understanding about ourselves through our faculties, okay? Through our faculties, which is nothing more than a perception. But we must make sure that with that perception, it falls under what we call our conscious cognitive decision, okay? Our conscious cognizant, what do we call it? Our conscious cognizant decision, all right? So for all those viewing, let's take our time. We're going to go through it. And once again, hopefully it'll bring you closer to the truth that what I'm trying to reveal to you here at the Third Tip English Church of England. So without further ado, let's get started with this marvelous lesson. We're going to start with engrams. The term engrams, very important, because it's a cognitive faculty, not just a conscious faculty, but it's a cognitive faculty, because consciousness being aware, all right? The cognitive faculty is the 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 uh uh the abilities that you are able to discern your awareness, which you call consciousness. All right. So the cognitive faculty is the uh five, not the five faculties, but the cognitive faculty is a conscious faculty in which you be able to judge, deliberate, all right, fact finding. Okay, this is what cognitive faculties are all about. Okay, so within the term engrams, which denotes to neuropsychology, it says that an engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in the physical substance, all right, or physical property. Physical substance or physical property theorized to be the means by which memories are stored. Okay? Memories are stored. It didn't say thoughts, it said memories. Okay? You only understand memories by having a thought. And thought refers to thinking. Thinking about what? You could be thinking about something in the present. You could be thinking about something in the future. But here they say memories, and memories denote to something in the past. Okay, so it said an engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in a physical substance, theorized to be the means by which memories are stored. As biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli. It didn't say internal stimuli, it says external stimuli. And the external stimuli comes from your five faculties: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. Okay? And they're making reference to a biophysical or biochemical change. Okay? All right? A biochemical or biophysical change based upon cognitive information. We must understand that. What is cognitive again? Let's just review that. I'm going very slow for everyone. Cognition is the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. Okay? So with your senses, not alone with your senses, i.e., your five faculties: taste, touch, smell, sight, taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing, but also through the experience of thought, imagination, intelligence. Okay? This involves the formation of knowledge, memory, and working memory, judgment, and evaluation, reasoning, computation, problem solving, and decision making, comprehension, and production of language. Okay, this is a cognitive faculty which the results from having consciousness. Okay, from having consciousness. We must understand that. All right. The topic is engrams, neuropsychology. So we know what cognitive is. An engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in the physical substance, theorized to be means by which memories are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli. They said tissue, biological tissue, because we know it's an external stimuli. We know tissue is is that which exists on top of the epidermis, okay, which we call skin. All right, so it's very important to understand memories are stored in a biological tissue on a biochemical and biophysical level. We know biology means the study of what? Physics, all right? Physics, your makeup, all right? Your composition, all right? And the chemical changes that goes along with your composition, all right? It's very important for you to understand that, all right? So everybody got a good idea what engrams are. Memories, okay? We're talking about memories, the past, all right? Very important. We're talking about the past. However, engrams of specific types of memory are found in the subsystem mediating that learning process, and as such, solely engrams of simple condition are associated with the LIP, but not, for instance, engrams of semantic memory. Okay, LIP deals with let's just get what the LIP stands for. Lateral lateral interpretatus nucleus. All right, but we're not making reference to that. We're talking about the somatic memory. Okay, because we know engrams are memories stored in your biophysical or biochemical makeup. Okay, your biophysical and biochemical makeup, right? Which is in reference to what we call the tissue. All right, what it says in the biological tissue. So the memories are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue. So the biological tissue in the brain or any other biological tissue in response to an external stimuli. And we know those external stimuli is taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing, which is an external stimuli versus an internal stimuli. Okay, very important. All right. So the topic is melanin is the key to ascension. See it on a molecular level. Okay. We have to see it on a molecular level. Let's see it on a molecular level. So let's look at biophysical and biochemical in regards to the memories that are stored that are called engrams, which is a cognitive faculty. All right. A cognitive faculty. What is biophysical? Everybody look at the diagram. This is called a random walk. Okay. Diffusion. All right. This is called a random walk or a drunken walk, or what we call fusion. Okay. This is what's going on without your knowledge. Biophysics is an interdisciplinary science that applies approaches and methods traditionally used in physics to study biological phenomena. Biophysics covers all scales of biological organization, from molecular to organismic and population. Okay, so you need a frame of reference. Okay, a frame of reference in regards to biological organization, start from a molecular level to organismic and population. Biophysical research shares significant overlap with biochemistry, molecular biology, physical chemistry, physiology, nanotechnology, bioengineering, computational biology, biomechanics, developmental biology, and system of biology. So once again, biophysics is an interdisciplinary science that applies approaches and methods traditionally used in physics to study biological phenomena and biological organizations from a molecular level to organismic and populations. Okay? Very important for you to understand that. So, what is biochemical? Biophysical and biochemical. Because biophysical or biochemical are the memories that are stored in the biological tissue. Okay? In the biological tissue that's protected by melanin. Okay? It's protected by melanin. Biochemistry or biological chemistry is the study of chemical processes, chemical changes, or chemical potential. Okay? So, biochemistry or biological chemistry is the study of chemical processes within related to living organisms. Please understand that. A subdiscipline of both chemistry and biology, biochemistry may be divided into three fields: structural biology, enzymology, and metabolism. Over the last decade of the 20th century, biochemistry has become successful at explaining living processes through these three disciplines. Okay? So it falls into three categories. All right? It says that biochemistry or biological chemistry is the study of the chemical process within related to living organisms. So we know biophysical, and biochemistry, then with living organism is the memories that are stored in those living organisms. Okay, and we know that chemical processes means chemical changes. All right, which means a converting of that energy into a signal. Signal. Okay, this takes conversion. All right, let's get into it. So once again, an engram is a unit of cognitive information imprinted in the physical substance derived to be the means by which memories are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli, called what they call it somatic, what they call the somatic memory. So let's look at somatic memory because we know external stimuli is governed by your somatic nervous system. Okay. Once again, external stimuli is governed by your somatic nervous system. All right. It's very important for us to understand that. Somatic memory. What is this? In regards to the memory. Okay. We know we talk about engrams, and engrams are memories stored in the biological tissue on the level of biophysical and biochemical level, all right, which deals with changes, all right, chemical process. Somatic memory refers to general world knowledge that humans have accumulated throughout their lives. Once again, somatic memory refers to general world knowledge that humans have accumulated through their lives. This general knowledge, word meaning concepts, facts, and ideas. This is the cognitive faculty, which is what we call consciousness. Okay, this is a cognitive faculty. It's intertwined in experiences and dependent on culture. New concepts are learned by applying knowledge learned from things in the past. You hear that? Memory, engrams. Engrams are stored memories on biophysical and biochemical level, stored in what we call the biological tissue of the brain or any other tissue, all right? Or any other tissue in regards to what we call external stimuli, okay? And external stimuli. All right. Semantic memory refers to general knowledge, world knowledge that humans have accumulated throughout your life. So all the information that you have learned throughout your life is what they call semantic memory, which came about through your five faculties: taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. Okay, and all this is a result of what we call a biophysical, a biochemical process. All right, that starts with the brain. Okay, because we know that somatic system, which semantic system memory depends on, is based off what we call sensory impulse. Okay, sensory impulse, or what we call sensory stimuli. All right, sensory impulse or sensory stimuli. Very important for you to understand this. Right, somatic memory. We know somatic memory is memories that's based off general knowledge. All right, of concepts, facts, and ideas, all right, accumulated through one's life. Okay? So you're not here just to be wasting your time. You're here for a reason to be learning. What is it you're supposed to be learning with your conscious cognitive faculty? Okay? What is it? Because it said engrams are the memories stored on a biophysical and biochemical level in regards to that the memory stored in what we call biological tissue. All right? Biological tissue. All right? So let's get to it. Melanin. 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 It ain't got to be all confusing. People make it all confusing when it's very simple. Okay? It's very simple when you look at it and apply it on a molecular level. All right? Because that's when the chemical change starts to happen. All right? That's when the change starts to happen. All right? Within you. All right? The change happens within you. You don't even see it, the change going on, but there's a change or a change or a process that's evolving. Okay, as a result of incoming information that's based upon memories. Okay, memories that's changing you on the biophysical and biochemical level. All right, and it's because of melanin. So what is melanin? Everybody heard the word melanin, from ancient Greek. Melas means black or dark. Is a family of biomolecules organized as oligomers or polymers, which, among other functions, provide the pigments of many organisms. So we know that the pigments of organisms of all life forms on the planet is a result of what we call melanin. Okay? Melanin. Melanin pigments are produced in specialized groups of cells known as melanocytes. Okay? We know melanin, which is a biomolecule, got its meliogenesis from UV radiation. Okay, UV lights. That's how melanin got its start. Okay, but along with that start came the protection from the UV rays. Okay, once again, melanin was a result of melanogenesis, which got its start from UV light radiation. But along with that start, we got the protection from the UV light radiation. All right. it's very important for you to understand what I'm saying to you. Okay. So melanin is a family of biomolecules organized as oligomers and polymers, which, among other functions, provide pigments of many organisms, life organisms. Melanin pigments are produced in specialized groups of cells known as melanocytes. Okay, we're going to move forward. There are 5 basic types of melanin. I'm going to try to pronounce this, all right? I didn't make these names up, they did. Eumelanin, phenomelanin, neuromelanin, allomelanin, and pyomelanin. Okay? Eumelanin, phenomelanin, neuromelanin, allomelanin, and pyomelanin. Eumelanin is produced through a multi-stage chemical process known as melanogenesis. Okay? Melanogenesis, where the oxidation of the amino acid tyrosine is followed by polymerization. All right, let's get a better understanding about that. In human skin, since we talk about humans, not just every other organism on this planet has melanin, we're talking about the human skin. In the human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by the exposure to UV radiation, okay, causing the skin to darken. All right. Once again, in the human skin, melanogenesis is initiated by the exposure to UV radiation. So it starts the process of the skin getting darkened by way of its exposure by UV radiation, but it also protects you against that UV radiation. Okay. It's very important for you to understand what's going on. Why? I'm going to prove it to you. All right. Because of this property, immunomelanin is thought to protect skin cells from UVA and UVB radiation damage, reducing the risk of folate depletion and dermal degradation. Exposure to UV radiation associated with increased risk of malignant melanoma, a cancer of melanocytes or melon cells. Studies have shown a lower incidence for skin cancer in individuals with more concentrated melanin, i.e., darker skin tone. Now, I'm not telling you to go lay out there in the sun for 24 hours a day. I'm not saying do that. All right. But melanin is a protection, like chlorophyll is a protection. It's a sunscreen. All right. It's a sunscreen. Let's move forward. All right. So we know the types of melanin. We know melanin within itself is a biomolecule. That's what it said. It's a biomolecule. All right. Very important for us to understand that. All right. I don't know if you ever went to school. I don't know how they teach. When we teach here, we have to make sure that you got a good explanation for what it is that we're reading. Because melanin is also a biomolecules along with the other molecules that exist, such as nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen. Okay, these are also called biomolecules. Let's see. Biochemistry. We know engrams are what? Stored memories in your biophysical and biochemistry, all right, that's stored in what they call your biological tissue. And we're reading about melanin, and melanin is a biomolecule, okay? Melanin is a biomolecule. So what are biomolecules in the understanding of what we call biochemistry in regards to our biophysical makeup, okay? Very important for you to understand that, all right? A biomolecule or biological molecule is loosely defined as a molecule produced by a living organism and is essential to one or more typically biological processes. All right. Biomolecules include large micromolecules such as protein, carbohydrate, lipids, and nucleic acids, as well as small particles such as vitamins and hormones. A more general name for these class material is biological material, okay? Biological material. Biomolecules are an important element of living organisms. They help in the process of evolution. These biomolecules are often endogenous, produced within organisms, but organisms usually need exogenous biomolecules, for example, certain nutrients to survive. Okay? So when we're dealing with biology, it is science of biochemistry and molecular biology studying biomolecules and their reactions. Okay? Once again, their reactions are interreactions or interactions. Once again, their reactions are interactions, okay? Which results by what we call force, all right? Force. Biology and the subfields of biochemistry and molecular biology study biomolecules and their reactions. Most biomolecules are organic compounds and just four elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen make up 96% of the human body mass. But many other elements, such as the various biometals, are also present in small amounts. So we talk about the human body and its makeup, all right, its composition, which is 96% of organic compounds, okay, that we call the human body, all right, that we don't even acknowledge. We acknowledge the skin or that which we can see or that which we are most familiar with, all right, which we'll talk about in a second. All right. So biology and its subfields of biochemistry on the and molecular biology study biomolecules and their reactions. Most biomolecules are organic compounds and just four elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, which makes up 96 of the human body mass. 96% of the human body mass. All right. Let's take a look at the human body. Composition of the human body. I'm looking at the new YouTube. They said new study finds potential alien mega structure known as a Dyson sphere. NBC News 2 days ago. Did y'all hear that? Let me say that. Okay. As we see, composition of the human body, which we know 96% of the body is made of biomolecules. Very important that you understand the composition of the human body. Okay? Knowing the composition of the human body, which is 96% of the body's mass, the human body's mass. Okay? As you can see, 60% of the body's mass is water, oxygen, 80% is carbon, 10% is hydrogen, the 3% is nitrogen, and the other percent is unknown. Okay? This is where melanin comes in. Okay? This is where melanin comes in. Very important to understand that. All right? All right? That's not the cosmic breath, though. Okay? Oxygen is not the cosmic breath. It's the breath breathed by mortals. Okay? It is the breath breathed by mortals, not the breath breathed by etheric beings. Okay? It's very important to understand that. All right? Because this composition represents the mass, the volume, okay, of which we call matter, which exists in what we call space time. All right. So we must understand that this is not how to properly see yourself on a molecular level. Okay. Because this is not your true composition. It's very important to understand that. Let's see why. And on the topic of what we call melanin, because we know melanin is a biochemical. We know melanin is a biomolecule. We know molecules are so, which are those molecules such as oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, and carbon. Okay, as well as the other one that is just here. Okay, there's 65% oxygen, 18.5% of carbon, 9.5% of hydrogen, 3.2% of nitrogen, 1.5% of calcium, 1.0% of phosphorus, 0.4 of potassium, 0.3 of sulfur, 0.2 of sodium, 0.1 of magnesium, and 0.1 of traces of other elements. Okay, I didn't make this chart, but this is what the chart says. That was composed of 68% of what we call human beings mass. Okay, human beings mass, and what protects that mass? Melanin, because melanin is a sunscreen. It protects you. Okay, very important for you to understand that. All right, it came along with evolution. All right, it existed before evolution. All right, it came along with evolution and it existed before evolution. All right, very important for you to understand that. Let's get some sources. Photoelectrochemical properties of melanin. All right, photoelectrochemical properties of melanin. We know melanin, once again, is a biomolecules, just like the other molecules that the body is composed of, which makes up 96% of human mass, okay, which we call matter, okay, which is composed of volume, that which takes up space. All right. Very important for you to understand that. All right. Photoelectrical chemical properties of melanin. All right. What is the source of melanin? What's the purpose of melanin? All right. Because it's the melanin that not only protects the skin, the tissue, the biological tissue, but it protects the memories that are stored in the biological tissue, which are the memories are composed of on a biochemical and biophysical level. Why did it say memories? All right. Why did it say memories? We know memories is a conscious cognitive faculty. All right. Memories are a conscious cognitive faculty, but they're talking about biophysical and biochemical memories stored in biological tissue. Why did they say that? Okay, and we know tissue was created by melanin because melanin is it was created by way of meteogenesis, which is the effects created by what we call UV radiation or UV light. Okay, and we know UV light goes back to what we call photons. Okay, photons, massive particles. All right, very important. So photo electrical chemical properties. That title says it all. Arturo Solis, Maria E. Lara, and Louis E. Rendon. Okay? Look at the language, y'all. Talk about melanin. Melanin is to the animal kingdom like chlorophyll to the vegetal kingdom. Okay? Melanin is to the animal kingdom like chlorophyll is to the vegetal kingdom. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation sources. Did you hear that? Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation sources, kicks electrons into excited states, initiating a process that would end up producing a chemical energy. You hear that? A chemical energy is called chemical potential. All right? Chemical energy is called chemical potential. We talked about this already. We're going to go through it again. Similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplies energy to plants. We know that plants convert sunlight into what they call chemical energy. Once again, through photosynthesis, plants convert UV rays, sunlight, into chemical energy, just like melatonin converts energy into chemical signals, okay? Chemical potential. For us, all right, it's what you call a medium, a transmission medium, a conductor, all right, for energy, which is message to travel through, all right? Let's check it out. Melanin is to the animal kingdom like chlorophyll to the vegetal kingdom. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation. Key point, lower energy radiation. Kicks electrons into excited states, initiating a process that would end up producing chemical energy similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplied energy to plants. This is called atomic diffusion. Atomic diffusion. However, the precise role of melanin during this process are unknown. Okay? It says, however, the precise role of melanin during this process are unknown. Why is it unknown about the process that the melanin takes in regards to the transferring or the converting of that energy into chemical potential? Why is it unknown? Let's see. All right. What is low energy radiation? What is that? Low energy radiation. It's very important for you to understand that. We'll get to it in a second. All right. Here we show that the increase in the electron transfer properties of melanin is independent of the energy of an incident photon. Very important. Here we show that the increase in the electron transfer properties, meaning the physical properties of melanin, is independent of the energy of the incident photon, which is massless, which is a massless particle. We found a controlled in vivo assay that melanin has remarkable capabilities of converting lower energy radiation. It said it twice. Did y'all hear that? It said it twice. Have the capabilities of converting lower energy radiation to a more useful form of energy. Furthermore, we found that we found that melanin can break up water molecules and giving up energy, suggesting an additional behavior mode for melanin. Our result demonstrates how members of the melanin family are likely to function as transducers, oxidizing water, pushing apart water molecules, as well as recruiting back ions into molecules that are subsequently polarized again. Melanin drives the photon energy. Did you hear that, y'all? Melanin drives the photon energy of lower energy radiation source by quenching electrons and initiating a ionic event independently of their relatively energy contention, i.e. proton. It mentions low energy 3 times, okay? It mentioned low energy 3 times, and it says that melanin was a medium, all right? A medium, all right? To change what it said, let's read it, convert lower energy radiation to a more useful form of energy. This is about what we call atomic diffusion. We know diffusion means to what? Spread out. Okay? To spread out. Very, very, very important for you to understand what's being said. Melanin drives the photon energy of lower energy. You hear that? Melanin drives the photon energy of lower energy radiation sourced by quenching electron. But it did say that what it says. Uh, it was independent. Here we show that the increase in the electron transfer properties of melanin is independent of the energy of the incident photon. Okay? Very important to understand that because we have to understand what is photon. What is photons? Okay? We must understand because we're talking about engrams. And engrams are memories stored on the biophysical and biochemical level. Okay? Which are stored in the biological tissue. We know that the tissue it was it has the protection of melanin, which keeps it from being damaged by what we call UV ray lights, and it actually got its start from UV ray lights called meliogenesis. All right, which means dark. Okay, it means dark. Let's see. So remember, low energy frequency. All right. Photon. What is a photon? Let's see. Photons. Photon. Phos or photos. Light is an elementary particle that is a quantum of the electromagnetic field. You hear that? It's a quantum of the electromagnetic field, including electromagnetic radiation, such as light and radio waves, and the force carrier for the electromagnetic force. I repeat, a photon light means light is an elementary particle that is quantum of the electromagnetic field, meaning the minimum quantum means the minimum of physical property, the minimum amount of a physical property. All right. So it says a photon, meaning light, is an elementary particle that is a quantum of the electromagnetic field, including electromagnetic radiation, such as light and radio waves, and the force carrier for the electromagnetic force. Photons are massless particles. Do you hear that? Are massless particles. All right, that always move at the speed of light measured in vacuum. We know vacuum means void of space. All right, void of space. The photon belongs to the class of boson particles. So once again, we know that when we're dealing with what's this topic? Photons are massless particles and are the force carriers. Okay, so force carriers. All right, they're not quantum. Okay, because we know force means energy and motion. Okay, we know photon means light, and we know light travels by way of vacuum. Okay, light travels by way of what we call vacuum because vacuum means void or empty of mass or matter or volume. Okay, very important. All right, so let's go to another article real quick. Einstein's cosmological constant, the cell, and the intrinsic property of melanin to split and reform the water molecule. Okay? Einstein's cosmological constant, the cell, and the intrinsic property of melanin to split and reform the water molecule. Review Article Volume 1, Issue 2, Arturo Silis Hera and Paleo E. Solis Arias. We'll go right to the introduction. While they hold that thought. Sorry about that. So we know that melanin is a biomolecule, just like oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, uh, carbon, okay? Carbon, nitrogen, uh, oxygen, what else is said? Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, what's the other one? Hydrogen, okay? All that exists within the human body, okay? All right? These elements make up 96% of the human being's mass, all right? Now I'm reading articles in regards to cosmological constant concerning melanin. Okay, it says melanin is a ambiguous. Pardon if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Melanin is a ambiguous biological pigment found in bacteria, fungi, plants, animals, and interstellar space. Once again, melanin is an ubiquitous biological pigment found in bacteria, fungi, plants, animals, and interstellar space. Okay? We know interstellar space is the energy and matter between stars. Okay? Interstellar space is the energy and matter between stars. Okay? When we talk about matter, we're talking about mass, we're talking about volume, which is up to what we call space time. All right? Melanin is the ubiquitous biological pigment found in bacteria, fungi, plants, animals, and interstellar space. So melanin is also found in interstellar space. It has diverse range of ecological and biochemical described functions, including display, invasion, photoprotection, detoxification, and metal scavenging. Melanin is found in fossils, including where it is best preserved compound. Its functions within both eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells has been primarily regulated to the role of simple built-in sunscreen. Okay, so we see melanin present in what we call the eukaryotic cell and the prokaryotic cell, which is the uh, uh, process for what we call evolution to take place. All right, because we know prokaryotic cells are single cell organisms, and we know eukaryotic cells are multicellular organisms, going back to what we call fungi. All right, going back to what we call archaea, uh, bacteria, which all results in what we call Asgard. Okay, we talked about that in prior lessons. We don't have the time to review it. Let's see. So just the top part. So we see that melanin was found in interstellar space as well as in animals, plants, bacteria, and fungi. These are two articles that we make reference to. Okay? Two articles in regards to melanin. Let's go back to this first article real quick and read that again before we move forward. So once again, melanin is to the animal kingdom like chlorophyll to vegetal kingdoms. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation sources, kicks electrons into excited states, initiating a process that will end up producing chemical energies, similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplies energy to plants. All right, so we see that it says melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation. We know that protons are massive particles. Okay, we know protons are massive particles that contain ion particles. Okay, we know ion particles are what we call gases. All right, we know when the universe was first created, the solar system was created, it was based on what we call accretion, and accretion is the accumulation of the gases and the dust that collected together and formed a massive, what they call a massive object. Okay, which we call our planets. All right. The same thing happened with the supernova when our universe created. The same thing happened with our solar system through the solar nebula, which is gravitational collapse and what we call a molecular cloud, which is nothing more than ionic gas, which is nothing more than what we call plasma. Electromagnetism. All right. Energy. So melanin is the animal kingdom like chlorophyll to vegetable kingdoms. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation, kicks an electron into excited states, initiating a process that will end up producing a chemical energy, similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplies energy to plants. However, the precise role of melanin during this process are unknown. Let's see. Let's look at lower energy radiation. Let's look at that. We know photons represents light. We know light is electromagnetic particles. That is a quantum of the electromagnetic field. All right. And are the force carriers of the electromagnetic force. And it says photons are massless particles that move at the speed of light. Right? Why? Because they have 0 point energy. All right. Absolute zero energy, which is the lowest energy field. Okay. It is the lowest energy field. Let's see. Massless particles. In particles physics, a massive particle is an elementary particle whose invariant mass is zero. At present, the only common massive particle is a photon. Okay? A photon. We know photon represents light, UV ray lights. Okay? Which the melanin is it converts that UV light into a chemical energy, okay, into chemical potential, just like UV ray lights is converted into a chemical energy in a process of what we call photosynthesis. All right, photosynthesis. All right, we know, and we heard that massive particles are the elementary particles whose invariant mass is what? Zero. Zero mass. All right, means it has no volume, it has no mass, and it's not made of what we call matter. Now we see that the human body is made of how much mass? 96% of those biomolecules. Okay, we see that. I know you loving this point, uh, Countess Walker. That you can see photons, antiparticle. You hear that? Antiparticle. Self. All right. The true self. What we call the quantum self. All right. That's what we're trying to find out. The true self or the quantum self, which we don't know of. But it's based upon that what we call uh uh drunken walk or what we call random walk. As you see in what we call biophysical. All right. Biophysical. Photon, electromagnetism, gluon, strong interaction. All right, that's the force carrier. Graviton means deal with gravitation. All right, so there you see the properties of the elements of gravitation, gluon, and proton. All right, on the elementary particle dealing with invariant mass, which means 0 point energy. All right, 0 point energy. Let's see. 0 point energy is the lowest possible energy that a quantum mechanical system may have. You hear that? 0 point energy, also called absolute zero energy, is the lowest possible energy that a quantum mechanical system may have. All right, separate from the quantum self. All right, all right, because we know photons are the force carriers, which is energy. All right, through a vacuum, which is void of space. All right, we know that matter or mass or volume is made up of what we call those biomolecules, such as what we call um, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. All right, those have mass. Those elements have mass. All right, but we know photons, which are massive particles, have an absolute zero mass, meaning that they have 0 point energy. All right, 0 point energy when they resolve in what we call dark energy. All right, dark energy, which we call antimatter, which we talk about in a second. Volume changes with temperature. True. Mass does not change with temperature. Absolutely right. Mass does not change with temperature. Because we know mass itself is based upon volume. Mass is based upon volume. Because we know mass, which is volume, takes up space, even if it's energy. Okay? Even if it's energy. All right? Because we know energy moves through a vacuum, which is void of space, which is called ether. All right? 0 point energy is the lowest possible energy that a quantum mechanical system may have. Let's look at the biophysical self again. I'm going based off what we see here, not based off what we were taught, but what we see here. Atomic diffusion. We talked about this again already. In chemical physics, atomic diffusion is a diffusion process. You said mass does not change with temperature. Exactly right. No electrons can move at 0 point energy. We're about to prove it. All right. In chemical, physical, atomic, because we know photons are the force carriers. All right. We know protons are the force carriers. In chemical physics, atomic diffusion is a diffusion process whereby the random thermal active movement of atoms is a solid result in the net transfer of atoms. For example, helium atoms inside a balloon can diffuse through the wall of the balloon and escape. Because we know diffusion means what? To spread out, resulting in the balloon slowly deflating. Other air molecules, such as oxygen, nitrogen, have a lower mobility and thus diffuse more slowly through the balloon wall. All right, let's get a little bit more uh, uh, concentrated definition. Atomic diffusion. Is it diffusion? What is diffusion? And we're still talking about the self, all right? The physical body. We're not talking about hooking up some electrical wire for a house. We're talking about the self, all right? We're dealing with the self. We're talking about melanin. Because we know that melanin helps convert energy because melanin acts as a medium, a transmission medium. We're going to prove it in a second. Diffusion is a net movement of anything, for examples, atoms, ions, molecules, energy, generally from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. All right. lower concentration. Diffusion is driven by a gradient and gives free energy or chemical potential. Chemical potential is the same as chemical energy. Let's go back to melanin. All right, let's go back to melanin. Once again, we're not talking about hooking up lightning to a house. All right, running wire. Talking about melanin. Melanin is the animal kingdom like chlorophyll is the vegetal kingdom. Melanin collects energy, all right, from lower energy radiation. So if that's the case, then what so I guess diffusion, the definition of diffusion, atomic diffusion is lying. Let's go back to atomic diffusion. Because Miss Walker said, Countess Walker said, atoms have protons and neurons. They are in the nucleus of the atom and do not move. The electrons rotate around the nucleus of an atom. That's movement. That's movement. Atoms have protons and neurons. They are in the nucleus of an atom and do not move. The electrons rotate around the nucleus of the atom. Let's read this. Melanin is the animal kingdom, like chlorophyll to the vegetal kingdom. Melanin collects energy from the lower energy radiation sources, kicks electrons. Now, let me read what you said. It says it kicks electrons into excited state, initiating a process that would end up producing chemical energy, similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplies energy to plants. However, the precise role of melanin during this process are unknown. How here we show that the increase of the electron transfer properties of melanin and independent of the energy of the independent photon, which are massless particles. Let's go back to what we call 0 point diffusion. Where were we at? Diffusion. Atomic diffusion. Okay. Diffusion is the net movement, all right, of anything. For example, atoms. So if atoms don't move, why did it mention atoms, ions, and molecules, which are composed of energy? Why? Because we know energy comes in many forms. We know energy is governed by what we call force, what they call it, what they call it, force carriers, because photons are force carriers. All right. And we know force is a result of kinetic energy, potential energy. All right. Action potential, which only comes by what we call transduction. So diffusion is the net movement of anything, for example, atoms, ions, molecules, energy generally from a region of high concentration to a region of lower concentration. Diffusion is driven by a gradient of Gibbs free energy or chemical potential. Chemical energy is chemical potential. All right. It is possible to let's go down a little further. A distinguishing feature of diffusion is that it depends on particles' random walk. It results in mixing of mass transport without requiring direct bulk motion. Bulk motion or bulk flow is the characteristic of advection. The term convection is used to describe the combination of both transport phenomenon. That's when we go back to what we call engrams of biophysical cells versus biochemical, because biochemical means chemical potential or chemical energy, which is free energy. All right? Free energy. Let me click that back. Let's go back to the article. All right, we left off here. All right, here we show that the increase in the electron transfer properties of melanin is independent of energy of the incident photon. Okay, so the melanin acts independent of the incident photon, which is what we call massless particles at 0 point energy. Okay, 0 point energy. We found a controlled in vivo assay that melanin has a remarkable capability of converting lower energy. You hear that? Converting lower energy, that 0 point energy. Melanin has the capabilities of converting that lower energy, 0 point energy. So that means there is no diffusion. There is no diffusion of a concentration gradient to a lower concentration. The lower concentration is what we call 0 point energy, lower energy radiation. We found in control in vivo assays that the melanin has a remarkable capability of converting lower energy radiation to a more useful form of energy. Furthermore, we found that melanin can break up water molecules and give up energy, suggesting an additional behavior made for melanin. Our results demonstrate how members of the melanin family are likely to function as transducers, oxidizing water, pushing apart water molecules, as well as recruiting back ions into molecules that are subsequently polarized again. So it says that melanin, or members of the melanin family, act as functions of transducer. What does transducers? What is the term transducers? Because it said that melanin acts or produces chemical change. Okay? Melanin produces chemical change by kicking an electron into excited state. Okay? Melanin collects energy, pretty much like plants collect energy and create a chemical energy, which creates a chemical change, a phase in what we call a transition. Very important. So that's what melanin is for us. It helps convert energy into a chemical signal or a chemical action. All right. That's what melanin does, independent of what we call that photon energy or light energy, because we know that melanin was created alone by way of what we call meliogenesis, and meliogenesis or melanin starts with its um, its influenced by what we call the UV rays. And we know UV ray light can be harmful to the skin if it does not have melanin, like some entities on this planet. Okay? Very important for you to understand that. All right, let's get back to it. So it says created chemical energy. What is chemical energy? Chemical energy is the energy of chemical substances that is released when the substance undergo a chemical reaction, okay, and transform into other substances. Some examples of storage media of chemical energy include battery, food, gasoline, as well as oxygen gas, which is of high chemical energy due to its relatively weak double bond, and is indispensable for chemical energy releases in gasoline combustion. Breaking and remaking chemical bonds involves energy which may be either absorbed by or evolved by a chemical system. If reactants with relatively weak electrons pair bonds convert to a more strongly bonded product, energy is released. So we're talking about chemical energy, which is nothing more than what we call chemical potential. All right? Let's see what chemical potential is. Because chemical energy is a release with the substance undergo a chemical reaction, which means a change. Let's go back. Chemical potential energy. Chemical potential energy is a form of potential energy related to the structural arrangement of atoms and molecules. The arrangements may be the result of chemical bonds within a molecule or interaction between them. Chemical energy of chemical substance can be transformed to other forms of energy by a chemical reaction. For example, when a fuel is burned, the chemical energy of the molecular oxygen in the fuel is converted to what? Heat. Green plant transforms solar energy to chemical energy, mostly of oxygen, through photosynthesis. It's right there. The facts don't lie. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's go back to engrams. Engrams. An engram is a unit of cognitive faculties, information imprinted in the physical substance. All right. The physical property. All right. The engrams derives to be the means by which memories, all right, you know what memory is. Memory is a cognitive faculty, all right, to remember, all right, are stored as biophysical or biochemical changes in the brain or other biological tissue in response to external stimuli. So we're not talking about any other physical thing. We're talking about ourselves. All right. We're not talking about, once again, running wire through a building. We're talking about the wiring of ourselves and the memory of that wiring of ourselves based upon the memories of our biophysical and biochemical makeup. All right. And the changes that are happening because of our biophysical and biochemical makeup, either caused by external stimuli or external stimuli. It's very important for you to understand that. All right. And we're talking about memories. All right. What is biophysical? Let's look at it again. This is a random walk that most of us don't even know we have it. Biophysics is an interdisciplinary science that applies approaches and methods traditionally used in physics to study biological phenomena. Okay? That means biology of the physics must be understood by understand biology of the cell, which is done on the chemical level and the molecular level. All right. So you must understand the molecular concept of ourselves as well as the chemical level of ourselves because they all interact together. So biophysics is an interdisciplinary science that applies approaches and methods traditionally used in physics to study biological phenomena. Biophysics covers all scales of biological organization from molecular to organismic and population. All right. So this we must understand relative to ourselves. Okay. And the only way we can do that is by what we call transduction. All right. Transduction, because it said here, melanin is a transducer. Our results demonstrate how members of the melanin families are likely to function as transducers. Okay? Transducers. What is transducers? Let's see. What is transducer? Let's look the word up. Transducer. A transducer is a device that converts energy from one form to another. Did you hear that? Usually, a transducer converts a signal into one form of energy to a signal in another. So we know that in transduction, energy is the message, and the energy is message is converted into a stimuli, all right, which creates a signal. All right. We know that. Transducer is the device that converts energy from one form to another. Usually, a transducer converts a signal into one form of energy to a signal of another. That's melanin. All right? Because melanin is a transmission medium. What is the transmission medium? Let's see. Transmission medium. All right. Transmission medium. We're still talking about uh 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 the self. Okay. We understand that uh the self operates off what we call biological molecules, which is composed of what we call uh, atoms and protons and neurons, and all these things can only be understood on the molecular level. All right, understanding those terms because we know on the molecular level, chemical changes are going on within our cells. All right, in regards to our biophysical cells, which are memories as defined by engrams that you must know. All right, because not knowing is out of mind. And we know that the melanin is that medium for you to understand that. All right, because we know that light is energy, right? Photon is energy at 0 point energy. We know melanin is converts energy at the lowest radiant. All right, the lowest point of radiation. All right, and we know that radiation is from UV ray light, which is composed of photons, all right, which are 0 point energy. All right, a transmission medium is a system or substance that can mediate the propagation of signals for the purpose of telecommunication. Signals are typically imposed on a wave of some kind suitable for the chosen medium. You hear that? For the chosen medium. Melanin is the medium for the communication to come through, which is what we call an electrical signal, which calls an stimuli, all right, or a stimulation based off the interpretation of that energy, which is the message. We know the energy is light, all right, light. That energy is light, and that light, which is energy, is the message. Who's giving the message, though? Who's sending the message for you to interpret through the signals? All right? Because we know melanin is a transmission medium, and we know melanin exists in what we call interstellar space, not just in all life forms on the planet. All right? Every eukaryote and prokaryote, but as well as it exists in what we call uh, uh, um, a form of what we call molecules, atoms, all right, which has energy in it, which in order for to make the molecules fluctuate, to make the atoms fluctuate, because atoms do move. All right, atoms do move as we see in the process of diffusion, which is remove atoms, molecules, ions, energy from a high concentration gradient to a lower concentration gradient. All right, used as a transmission medium. And we know a transmission medium is a system or a substance that can mediate the propagation of signals for the purpose of telecommunication. Signals are typically imposed on a wave of some kind suitable for the chosen medium. It's called neural oscillation or baryon acoustic oscillation for ordinary matter. Okay. For example, data can modulate sound in a transmission medium for sounds may be air, but solids and liquids may also act as a transmission medium. Vacuums or air constitute a good transmission medium for electromagnetic waves such as light and radio. Did you hear that? Vacuum acts as a transmission medium for electromagnetic waves such as light and radio waves. So let's go to ether. What is ether? Going to ancient medieval science, alternative spellings include ether, aether, or ether, also known as the fifth element or quintessa. It's a material that fills the region of the universe. We know the universe consists of all space, time. We know space is measured by what we call position and direction. Okay, we understand material that fills the region of the universe beyond the terrestrial sphere. The concept of ether was used in several theories to explain several natural phenomena, such as the propagation of light and gravity. In the late 19th century, physics postulated that ether permeated space, which means what? Created space, providing a medium, transmission medium through which light could travel in a vacuum. Vacuum means void or empty of mass, meaning 0 point energy, meaning energy and mass or energy mass equivalence. You ever heard of that term? Let's see. Mass energy equivalence. We'll warm this up on me. In physics, mass energy equivalent is the relationship between mass and energy. Okay? Mass and energy in a system rest frame where the two quantities differ only by a multiplicative constant in the units of measurement. The principle is described as physics Albert Einstein formula energy equals matter constant to the speed of light. Okay, it's also called invariant mass. Okay, or rest frame by what we call uh uh a rest frame, which means a form of measurement. Okay, it's in reference frame. It's called reference frame where the system is moving its relativistic energy and relativistic mass instead of rest mass obey the same formula. So there's difference between uh, relativistic energy and relativistic mass contrast to what we call rest mass, which is nothing more than 0 point energy. All right? 0 point energy. What is rest frame? In special relativity, E equals mc squared, not general theory of relativity, meaning space-time, gravity. In special relativity, the rest frame of particles is the frame of reference. You hear that? A coordinate system attached to physical markers in which the particles is at rest. This is how they measure. All right? This is how they measure. The ref frame of compound objects, such as fluid or solids, made of many vibrating atoms. So atoms do not stay still. Is taken to be the frame of reference in which the average momentum of the particles which may make up the substance is zero. The particles may be individually have momentum, but collectively have no net momentum. So this is going back to what we call atoms diffusion or just diffusion, which results in what we call uh, um, um, what we call a drunken walk or random walk. Okay, let's get back to it. Atomic diffusion. In chemical physics, atomic diffusion, atoms diffusion is a diffusion process whereby the random thermal activated thermodynamics or kinetic energy or free energy movement of atoms in a solid results in a net transfer of atoms. So, Countess Walker, atoms have protons and neurons. They are in the nucleus of the atom and do not move. That's wrong. All right, that's wrong. Because it said in chemical physics, atomic diffusion is a diffusion process whereby the random thermal activated movement of atoms, it didn't say the nucleus, it said atoms in a solid results in a net transport of atoms. For example, we read the example, all right? Let's go to diffusion. Okay? Diffusion. Diffusion is the net movement of anything, for example, atoms, ions, molecules, energy, talking about protons, generally from a region of high concentration to a region of lower concentration. You hear that? Diffusion is driven by the gradient in Gibbs free energy or chemical potential. All right? Usually caused by a random walk. All right? A random walk. And we know melanin causes chemical energy. All right? Which is chemical potential. Let's go back to the article. Melanin is the animal kingdom, like melanin is to the animal kingdom, like chlorophyll to the vegetal kingdom. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation sources, kicks electrons into excited states, initiating a process that would end, that's diffusion, initiating a process that would end up producing chemical energy. You hear that? Chemical energy. Diffusion causes chemical energy, similar to the way in which photosynthesis supply energy to plants, which we know that through photosynthesis, plant convert that energy that comes from what we call the UV rays of the sun, the ultraviolet light from the sun. We know light is energy. Energy is the message which is to be converted through transduction into a stimuli, which creates an electrical signal. Okay, creates an electrical signal. All right, which results in what we call transducer or transduction, because transduction and transduction is the converting. All right, to convert something, to change something. You hear that? And it said that here it shows that the increase in the electron-transfer properties of melanin. The electron transfer properties of melanin is independent of the energies of the incidence of photon. Okay, let's see where we're going at with this. Let's go back to diffusion. A distinguishing feature of diffusion is that it depends on particle random walk. It results in mixing or mass transport, all right, without requiring direct bulk motion or bulk flow, or the characteristics of advection. So what is a random walk? Let's see that. What does random walk? We already talked about this. We got to go through it again. See, when you go to school to be an electrician, it's only dealing with learning how to transfer the energy, all right, through transmission medium. It doesn't give you the origin or where the energy started from. That's key, all right, because the energy that you're supposed to be interpreting is by the conversion of that melanin, which is the transmedium for you to learn about that energy where you come from, which is called dark energy, all right? That which is massless, all right? Has no mass, all right? It created the space to put those those atoms and those protons in, all right? That has mass. Random walk. In mathematics, a random walk, sometimes known as a drunken walk, is a random process that describes a path that consists of a succession of random steps of some mathematical space. Okay, we know space is governed by position and by position and direction. Okay, We know space is governed by position and direction. So we know a random walk is a drunken walk, which is a random process to describe the path that consists of some random steps being taken. All right? Some random steps being taken. So this is based upon biophysical and the process of what we call engram, because it's through memories how you make your future steps. Your future steps should be based on memories, because memories inform you of the present to move forward, to look forward to the future, not just random, something randomly. It is you have two theories. Things happen randomly, or things happen by what we call determinability. Okay, either things happen randomly or by determinability. All right, like randomly saying it just happened. All right, predetermined means that there was a process in place, and as we see here, there's a process in place for the unfoldment of our existence through what we call those um, biomolecules. All right, let's go back to biomolecules, which melanin consists of. Biology is the subfield of biochemistry and molecular biology study biomolecules and their reaction. We know that melanin is a biomolecule. We said it. Melanin is one of the biomolecules. Uh, Once again, this is matter of fact. Let me just show you. All right. So because the whole thing is about melanin is the key to ascension. All right. Melanin is the key to ascension. Melanin is a family of biomolecules organized as obligomers and polymers, which, among other functions, provide pigments of many organisms. That means all organisms on the planet have melanin, okay? And it's a biomolecule, all right? So it's a biomolecule. It has to do with your biological, physical self and your biochemical self. Very important, all right? Very important. Biomolecule. Biology concerning those biomolecules, which melanin is one of them. Biology is a subfield of biochemistry and molecular biology, study of biomolecules and their reactions. So the study of biomolecules, that means that this must be your memory, all right? Because melanin, we know, is a biomolecule. And we know that when you deal with engrams are the memories stored in the biochemistry and biophysical self, stored in the biotissue, all right, and biological tissue. And we know biological tissue is protected by what we call melanin, all right? Biology is the subfield of biochemistry and molecular biology, study of biomolecules and their reaction. Most biomolecules are organic compounds. Just four elements: oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen make up 96% of the human body's mass, okay? And we know that body of mass, which we see on the outside, is called skin, which is protected by what we call melanin, which is also a biochemistry. And we know that it's stated that melanin was not just a transducer, but it invokes chemical energy or chemical reaction. Okay? That's what it's stated. All right? So let's get into, let's see. Let's go back to photon. Right? Photon is a elementary particle that is a quantum of the electromagnetic field. Okay, we know that melanin was independent of the photon. Okay, it stated that. Melanin was independent of the photon. The photon is light, and light is energy, and energy is the message, and the melanin is the transmission medium for that light to travel through, which is a message. All right. So photon, meaning light, is an elementary particle that is quantum of the electromagnetic field. It's a quantum of the electromagnetic field, including electromagnetic radiation, such as light and radio waves. Okay, we know you go to gamma rays, highest being gamma rays, lowest being radio waves. So the question becomes, what station are you on? Okay, what station are you on? What information are you listening to? And what is you learning from that information? Because that's the process of transduction, translating that trans energy by way of conversion. All right, conversion, and it says that light, which the energy is the message, is a quantum. Excuse me, of the electromagnetic field. So, what is a quantum? Quantum in physics, physical property. All right, physical property. We're talking about quantum physical property. Very important in physics. A quantum or quanta is the minimum amount of any physical entity, i.e., physical property, involved in an interaction. Okay? Quantum is the minimum amount of any physical entity, all right, or physical property involved in an interaction. Quantum is a discrete quantity of energy proportional in magnitude to the frequency of the radiation it represents. The fundamental notion that a property can be quantized is referred to as hypothesis of quantization. All right. This means that the magnitude of the physical property can take on only discrete values consist of integer multiples of one quantum of the quantum self on the minimum aspect of the quantum self, the minimum amount of the physical entity. Understand? Hold that thought. Sorry about that. So in physics, a quantum or quanta is the minimum amount of any physical entity involved in an interaction. All right? The minimum amount of any physical entity or physical property involved in the interaction. Let's go back to melanin. Once again, repeat. Melanin collects energy from lower energy radiation sources, kick electrons into excited states, and initiating a process that will end up producing chemical energy, similar to the way in which photosynthesis supplies energy to plants. Let's go back to diffusion. Diffusion is the net movement of anything, for example, atoms, ions, molecules, energy, journey from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration, Diffusion is driven by a gradient and gives free energy or chemical potential. All right. What is chemical energy? Let's see. Let's define that. I don't think we did. Chemical energy or chemical potential. Same thing. Chemical energy is the energy of chemical substance that is released when substance undergo a chemical reaction and transform into another substance. All right. So once again, chemical energy is the energy of chemical substances that is released when the substance undergo a chemical reaction and transfer to another substance. Let's go back to diffusion. Diffusion is the net movement of anything, for example, atoms, ions, molecules, energy, generally from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. Diffusion is driven by the gradient in free energy or chemical potential. All right? Once again, chemical potential. What is chemical potential? Let's see. Chemical potential because melanin causes what? Chemical potential. Melanin causes chemical potential through chemical energy by way of the memories that are stored in your biophysical cell, all right, in your biological tissue. The melanin protects the information that's stored in that biological tissue. That's why you don't get sunburn, because if you get sunburn, it will destroy the genetic material that stores the DNA, the genetic material or the information that's what we call the genomes for self development. Here in this phase transition from the state of energy to matter, back from matter back to energy, all right, which we call ether. Let's see. In closing, in thermodynamics, the chemical potential of a species is an energy that can be absorbed or released due to the change of the particle numbers of the given species, e.g., in chemical reaction or phase transition. The chemical potential of the species is a mixture and defined as the rate of change of free energy. All right? Free energy. Free energy helps in what we call phase transition, and that free energy that helps in phase transition is that chemical energy, and that chemical energy is based off the chemical changes, based off the chemical reaction, and the chemical reaction is based off what chlorophyll is to plants, what melanin is to animals, because we know that it converts that energy into what we call chemical potential, chemical energy. All species have it, which assists in what we call the phase transitions. Everybody see that? Phase transition. What is phase transition before we move forward? In chemistry, thermodynamics is in other related fields like physics and biology, biophysics. A phase transition or phase change is the physical process of transition between one state of medium or another. Do what? Chemical energy or chemical potential. Okay, chemical energy to chemical uh, uh, um, potential, which is a result of chemical interactions. All right. chemistry, thermodynamics, other related fields like physics and biology, a phase transition or phase change is a physical process of transition between one state of a medium and another. Medium and another. So there's two mediums, y'all. What is the transmission medium? Let's look at it again. You can't make this up. Transmission medium is a system or substance that can mediate the propagation of a signal. The signal came from a stimuli, which came from the conversion of that energy, which came from light. All right, you see it? But it needed a medium. All right, and that medium was ether, because ether creates a way for light to travel by way of vacuum, and vacuum is void and empty of what we call mass. That means that mass or matter, which you call volume, at its lowest energy is 0 point energy, which is what we call antimatter. Okay, antimatter. You must understand that. Transmission medium is a system of substance that can mediate the propagation of signals for the purpose of telecommunication, i.e., telekinesis. All right? Signals are typically imposed on waves of some kind suitable for the chosen medium. So you have to be a chosen medium to receive this transmission of signal. All right? Transmission of signals being conveyed to you through the transmission medium, which we call melanin, because melanin is what protects the transmission medium, which is the physical body. Whether you're making that determination based off your neural oscillation system or your baryonic or ordinary matter oscillation system, which is called baryonic acoustic oscillation, which we're talking about right now in closing. So we understand that melanin is a transmission medium where you receive the signals, which are the translation of the information, which was the energy or electrical signals that originated from what we call light. All right? Very important to understand. Let's see. Etheric body. In closing, in neo-theosophy, the etheric body, or ether body, is a subtle body propounded in esoteric philosophy as the first or lower layer. See, they don't deal with it from a biochemical, a biophysical terminology. They deal with it from an esoteric or religious aspect or hypothesis. All right, they don't deal with it from biology or chemistry. All right, or molecular understanding. It says in neo-theosophy, the etheric body or ether body is a subtle body propounded in esoteric philosophies as the first or lowest layer in the human energy field or aura. We know that's melanin. All right, the lowest energy field is melanin because melanin is the medium. All right, that allows the conversion of that energy into what we call a chemical signal, okay, or chemical energy or chemical potential. All right. So it says the etheric body is said to be in immediate contact with the physical body to sustain it and connect it with the higher body. It's also said to consist of finer substances, more pure and composed of smaller particles than ordinary matter of the physical plane. So when you're talking about ordinary matter, you're talking about matter that has mass or volume. Okay? Mass or volume. That goes into what we call space time, things that occupy space. All right? Things that occupy space. Space is a three-dimensional continuum containing a position and direction. So space contains the position and direction because you are the center of everything in any direction that you look at it from the five faculties, which you call taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. All right. those faculties are the wrong way to perceive what it is that you call consciousness, because there's not a cognitive faculty. All right? You're not using the cognitive faculty to discern truth from falsehood, and truth from falsehood can only be determined from inside out, not outside in. All right? Because we know the impulses come from inside out, not from outside in. All right? We must understand that. Let's see. In closing, the brain. The brain is an organ that serves as the center of the nervous system in all vertebrates and most invertebrate animals. It consists it consists of the nervous tissue. You hear that? The nervous tissue is typically located in the head, cephalization, usually near organs for special senses such as vision, hearing, and olfaction. Being the most specialized organ, it is responsible for receiving information for the sensory nervous system, processing those information, thought, cognition, and intelligence, and the coordination of motor control muscles, activity, and the endocrine system. Let's go back to engrams in closing. Biophysics. Hmm. In closing. An engram is a unit of cognitive information printed in the physical substance derived to be means by which memories are stored. You know what memories are, right? Everybody know what memories are. So your memories are very important for your present as well as your future. All right. And these memories that dictate your present and your future manifestation, it should be understood on a biophysical and biochemical understanding or level. In regards to those changes of what's going on as regards to the memories that were stored in the biological tissue in response to the external stimuli or the internal stimuli, okay? Whichever one you choose to listen to, because all results in what we call transduction, all right? Transduction. And what is transduction? In physiology, transduction is the translation of arriving stimulus into an action potential by sensory receptors and begins with stimulus changes in the membrane potential of the receptor cell. A receptor cell converts the energy and the stimulus into an electrical signal. Receptors are broadly split into two main categories: external and internal. Okay? Internal and external. All right. We know that receptor cells convert energy. All right. Receptor cells convert energy. And it's very important because melanin does the same thing. And we know that receptor cells have to do with neurosensory. We know neurosensory has to do with neuromelanin. All right. Neuro essentially has to do with neuromelanin, and we know melanin helps in the conversion of transducing, which is converting energy, as we've seen in the previous showings that were demonstrated here in this lecture. So, in closing, we know that quantum is the minimum amount of the physical property, which we must understand because that within itself is our true self, the quantum self. All right. And the only way that can be understood in what we call is what we call uh, a random walk. Okay. A random walk, which is called the quantum cloud. All right. Which I'll close on that. If I got it here. Quantum cloud. The quantum cloud is Gormley's tallest sculpture to date, taller than the Angels of the North. It constructed from a collection of tetrahedral units made from 1.5 meters long sections of steel. The steel sections were arranged using the computer module of the random wall algorithm, starting from point reference frame of the surface of the enlarged figure based in Gormley's body front cell. And Gormley's body that forms a residual outline of the center of the sculpture. This goes back to the random walk, which is a random walk. And a random walk is a mathematics. In mathematics, the random walk, sometimes known as drunken walk, is a random process to describe a path that consists of succession of random steps in some mathematical space. And this is what we call, where is it at again? Biophysical, through engrams. 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 All right. Biophysical and biochemical changes. Okay. Biophysical change comes from knowing biomolecules. All right. Biophysical denotes biochemical denotes. Let me see. Yeah. Biochemical denotes to understanding bio uh molecules. All right. We understand melanin is one of them. All right. So it's an engram in closing, is a cognitive information imprinted in the physical substance thereby to be the means by which the memories are stored as biophysical. Now you see the diagram, right? Of a random walk, but you don't have no clue of what's going on. All right. Your biophysical self, your the part of the self that you don't see. A random walk, all right? That random walk is based or should be based off the memories, which causes what we call the biochemical changes in yourself. All right. This biophysical walk or this random walk will cause the biological changes in yourself, which is called chemical potential. Okay. Chemical potential to what we call diffusion. All right. Because we know that biochemical, right? Biochemical, if you look at the diagram, is the same as biomolecular. All right. See the sign here? Let's go to biomolecules. See the same symbol, all right? Right here. All dealing with biochemistry, all right? Biomolecules. So all biomolecules deal with what we call what was it called? Biochemical. A biochemical, which we know biochemical energy or biopotential energy, comes from biomolecules. We know biomolecules composed of not just the other elements, but also melanin, as we've seen. Okay, in closing, melanin is a family of biomolecules organized as agglomerators or polymers, which, among other functions, provide the pigments of many organizations. So it just don't provide the pigment, which we call skin, all right, which is protected by the melanin that's in the skin, but it also provides other defenses for us, all right? So it's very important to understand yourself in regards to melanin, because melanin is the key to ascension, all right? Melanin is the key to ascension, but in order for you to ascend, you must understand melanin based upon the memories that's locked in your biophysical and biochemical makeup. Okay? In your biophysical and biochemical makeup. So with that, I digress. Um, it's very important to understand how important it is in regards to our makeup. All right? Because we know that the biomolecules or the molecular structure that we compose of, all right, are are created for us on our existence here on this plane. All right. But we are going through a phase of transition and must depend on those elements that exist before this plane of existence existed. Okay. Very important. So if you understand melanin, you must understand ether. All right. Because we know melanin and ether all are the reason for our existence here on this planet, which we call Earth. And with that, I digress.